heavens! I've soon to have found a shark attached to my leg! Quick, Robin, hand me the shark repellent film watcher spray! Available at Walmart for only 89 cents. Whatever. Anyway, so the Batman just came out. I just finished seeing it like about an hour ago from when I'm filming this. Like hour and a half maybe. Whatever. I don't know. So today I thought, you know what, now is a good time for me to rank all of the theatrically released Batman films. And just to be clear with this, I did not include either version of Justice League because that's not really Batman movies. I mean, they have Batman in them, but to include them would also make me want to include, like, the Lego movie and its sequel. So I didn't include them because that I don't know, it feels to me like that's like calling the Avengers an Iron Man movie. And that's just not really the case. So, with that said, let's do this. In last place, number 12 is Batman and Robin. Wow. So, there's not a whole lot I could say about this movie that would be different from what many have been saying over the past 25 years. 25 years since this movie came out. The one good thing that I found when rewatching it, I think Michael Gough as Alfred is quite good. He still maintains some dignity in this dumpster fire of a film. That's it. That's about it. You know, going into this, I expected to have some so bad it's good value, and I've heard other reviewers say that that's the case, and I was wrong. This movie is so bad that, well, some movies are able to, like, be so bad that they go back around to being good. But Batman and Robin goes beyond that and goes from bad to good all the way back to bad. That is how bad it is. It's so bad. The story is really forgettable. It doesn't even make a ton of sense. The script and one-liners are so stupid and inexcusably awful that just, ugh. The action is sloppy. The costumes, the sets, they're all atrocious. I will talk about Joel Schumacher's whole Batman Gotham aesthetic in a bit when I get to Batman Forever, because I feel like that's a more appropriate place to talk about it, because there are a lot more things wrong with this movie. Then you get to the performances. George Clooney plays Batman, and you'd think that he'd be a solid Bruce Wayne and maybe even a solid Batman. I don't know. That is not the case, because he doesn't really seem invested in the movie. I don't know, it just didn't seem like he cared that much about anything that he was saying. And he's apologized for this movie. There is a specific clip where he says he always apologizes for Batman and Robin. It's funny, because it makes sense. It's a terrible movie. But, I mean, I understand how he wouldn't be able to get invested. I mean, who could? This script is abysmal, but I don't know. He's just not good. Robin pretty much whines for the entire movie. Like, all of his dialogue is just like, I want a car. Chicks dig the car. He always jumps to such specific conclusions about Batman. Like, I want a Robin signal. It's Batman and Robin, not Robin and Batman. Yeah. And I don't like it. I don't like Chris O'Donnell in the part at all. He was fine in Batman Forever. He wasn't good, but he wasn't awful. Here he is awful. Whoop-de-doo. Batgirl is in the movie. She makes absolutely no impact whatsoever. Alicia Silverstone is not good. Pretty miscast in the part, I'd say. I haven't read a ton of Batgirl comics, but based on, like, Batman the Animated Series, this is wildly inaccurate to how she should be portrayed, and this is just completely off the mark. For some reason, she's Alfred's niece, who comes from Britain, isn't British, and, like, it doesn't make any sense. Whatever. There's also Bane, who's, okay, he's so dumb. All he does is repeat what Poison Ivy says in, like, one-word increments. He's there, and he's green for some reason. And of course, he does the Bane! Oh my god. I'm gonna do so many impressions in this video, and they're all gonna be really, really bad. Uma Thurman is, outside of Michael Gough, she's probably my favorite performance in the movie. She's not very good, but she's clearly trying, and she actually could have made a really good Poison Ivy, but nope. She was in this movie, which is a shame. If they did like a No Way Home film, but with Batman, I feel like she'd be one of the characters they bring back. Make her like a Jamie Foxx Electro. Make her better in another movie. That's never going to happen, probably. And, of course, you got to talk about Mr. Freeze. So, yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger is really, really, really awful as Mr. Freeze. He's really bad. And, yes, he's campy, he's goofy, he's ludicrous beyond belief. Every single line that he says is both delivered terribly and is written terribly. Every stupid ice pun. Hey guys, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! Kick some ice. Enough with that. But for some reason, they still give him like the Batman the Animated Series tragic backstory with his dying wife, or dead, what? Is she dying or is she dead? I don't know, but why would you add in this tragic it's weird how they do it in this movie, because this movie is dumb. It's so ridiculous. It's like the 60s show and like the classic comic books with Batman in a freaking pink suit took things more seriously than this movie does. It's bad. I don't need to continue. It's just a horrible, horrible movie. Moving on. Number 11 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. And I guess technically I'm referring to the Ultimate Edition because that's the only one that I couldn't find the theatrical cut anywhere. I didn't really look for it because I have no desire to ever watch that one again. And after watching the Ultimate Edition, I have no desire to watch it ever again. It adds on about a half hour, but I can't really distinguish between the two. It's been a while since I watched the theatrical version. Anyway, I still think it's a really, really bad movie. I think it tried to have like Civil War, like Captain America Civil War level storytelling. I think it tries for some commentary about Superman and about power and stuff, but the movie doesn't actually put in the work to get to that point. They do not earn anything in this story. Not one. I mean, like, Superman as a character is not developed to the point where he would receive this extreme of reactions from so many people. And, like, there's a huge time jump between the beginning of this movie and the rest of it with, like, there's, like, 18 months. I feel like there should have been a movie exploring those 18 months. And then this movie could have probably had some sort of impact. But no, like, every single scene that should be cool, that should be kind of awesome to see, like the Justice League being teased, that should be cool. Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman all teaming up to fight Doomsday, that should be awesome. Like, Lex Luthor, as bad as Lex Luthor is in this movie, him taking on Superman, Batman versus Superman, all of this should be so cool. But it is lacking any and all substance. Like, these may be individually cool moments, and some of them barely even get to that level, but there's no actual story to back it up. On top of that, Batman is so badly portrayed, not by Ben Affleck. He did a really, really good job with what he was given. Problem is, what he was given sucks. For one, he kills people, which is just, no, Batman doesn't do that. And also, he brands people with the bat signal. Where did that come from? And it's like, everyone in Gotham City fears him, not just criminals. Only criminals. Why would just regular people fear Batman? I don't know. Uses guns, of course, which is just, okay. If you're gonna have Batman kill someone, it's gotta be for really good reason. I'd really have to think about it. But maybe I could let that slip. But no, I would not take Batman using guns. No, he would not use the weapon that was used to murder his parents. That's just wrong. And he like jumps to weird conclusions about Superman, and it's weirdly done. Like the thing that Superman being killed off in this movie is such a bad idea. It comes out of nowhere. Speaking of coming out of nowhere, Doomsday. Where did he come from? And why is he a combination of Lex Luthor and General Zod's DNA? What's up with that? Speaking of which, Lex Luthor in this movie, I did not remember how bad he was. I did not remember. Oh, man, I thought it was just a bad portrayal of Lex Luthor. No, it's just a horrible performance. I like Jesse Eisenberg, but this was such a horrible miscast that it's so bad. He's cringeworthy. He's obnoxious. He doesn't feel like Lex Luthor or a person. I don't know, it's just a really bad movie. Number 10 is Batman Forever. Now, I think the movie had some solid ideas in here about Bruce Wayne's trauma and about the stuff from his past, but the movie is so dumb that it barely has time to go into any of that, and I barely have time to go into any of that. Val Kilmer does a okay job in the role. He's not awful, but he's just kind of bleh. Doesn't really feel that good. Dick Grayson, the portrayal of him is he's just a bland, moody adolescent. He's not that interesting. Probably my favorite performance is Jim Carrey as the Riddler. It's not a great portrayal of the Riddler specifically, but I think Jim Carrey is entertaining. He's clearly having a whole lot of fun with the role, but yeah, I thought he was pretty good. Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face is just I mean, he's too over the top. He's too crazy all the time. And Two-Face should have some kind of duality to him. That's his whole thing. That's his whole motif. He's obsessed with duality. But no, he's just this insane lunatic all the time. It doesn't feel like Tommy Lee Jones. It's clearly him, but it doesn't seem like a regular performance that he would do. It's just an odd direction to take Two-Face. And then there's Chase Meridian, who is the dumbest character in any of these movies. She's so bad. Nicole Kidman gives a really awkward performance. She has no chemistry with any of the actors. The first shot that we see of her in the movie is her looking at Batman and going something like that. She lusts after him for the whole movie. She turns on the bat signal to try to get him to go and see her, and she is so obsessed with him for the entire movie in such an unprofessional manner that it's so weird, and I don't like it at all. Ugh. And, okay, so I do not like Joel Schumacher's aesthetic for Gotham at all. It's so, the bright colors, the strange sets, the Statue of Liberty being in the movie, yeah, that's a thing. I don't know, I don't really like the way he did these movies, the costumes with the bat nipples and the bat butts and the bat crotches, that whole thing, that's weird, man, that's just weird. Okay, Tim Burton should have directed this movie. Yes, Batman Returns was dark, needlessly dark at points, yes, but come on. Billy D. Williams is Two-Face. A really dark Jim Carrey Riddler. Oh, it would have been so much better. And it would have had Chase Meridian. There you go. Anyway, number 9 is Batman Returns. I don't really like it that much. I feel like I can take a whole lot of Tim Burton creepiness stuff and dark stuff, but I feel like drowning infants in the sewer is a bit much, even for Tim Burton. And so this movie is one that I never really got. I get what Tim Burton was trying to do, but I think, the stuff with the villains is much better than the actual story. I don't really get it. And, Batman isn't even the main character of this movie. It's called Batman Returns. He barely returns. He's just there. He doesn't, all he basically does is get the hots for Selina and have unfounded suspicions about Penguin. I mean, Keaton is good. He doesn't do anything wrong here. It's just, he's not really the sole focus of the movie, which is weird, because you would think that a reclusive billionaire who moonlights as a bat-dressed dude who punches criminals in the alleys and is like a goofy billionaire playboy that he, as a persona that he puts. You'd think that'd be a great character for Tim Burton to actually want to explore, but he really doesn't. He focuses more on the villains, which, again, makes a lot of sense. These are interesting villains, and, like, speaking of which, I think that Max Schreck is a very boring character. He's played very well by Christopher Walken, but he's not that good of a character outside of that. As for Tim Burton's direction here, I think it's really good. The movie looks very cool. It's directed very well. But I feel like the way the story is told, it's just not very good. I don't know. Now on the positive side, Danny DeVito is awesome as the Penguin. I mean, he is freaking terrifying. Like, he is a disturbing looking man in this. DeVito basically just disappears into the role. Like, you don't see Danny DeVito. You see the Penguin, this creepy penguin man who hits on women and tries to drown infants in the sewer. It's vile, but it's interesting. And then you have Catwoman, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who is just top-notch, man. I don't know how I'd rank the Catwomans because, like, she's really, really good. There's parts of the other one. Anyway, but I think her redemptive arc is really, really good. Her relationship with Bruce, and Pfeiffer just goes all out with both the physique, the physicality of the performance, the dialogue, her chemistry with every single person, just the way she delivers lines. It's interesting. So it's not a great movie or even very good movie, but it is one that has some solid elements. Number 8 is the Lego Batman movie. So this is obviously not the most faithful adaptation of Batman. I don't love Batman being this conceited and Joker being this non-crazy, but whatever, man. It's just a fun movie. And it actually has some solid exploration of Bruce Wayne's fears and insecurities about having a family and how he, like, has to keep people at arm's length, whatever. But yes, it does a very good job on that level. The voice acting is very good from everybody. It's a very funny film. The animation is pretty cool. The meta references are all very neat. Like, with Alfred's line, "Sir, I've seen you go through similar phases in 2016 and 2012 and 2008 and 2005 and 1997 and 1999 and 1992 and 1989 and that weird one in 1966. I said 1999 instead of 1995, but whatever. Anyway, and the way they do the relationship with Batman and the Joker is kind of like a romance angle, and it's actually very funny and works very well. It's a very clever Batman movie. It actually tells a pretty compelling story, and it's just a good movie all around. Yeah. Number 7, I believe, is Batman 1989. Of course, this movie is iconic. I don't love it, but it has some awesome elements. Burton does a great job with creating this weird gothic aesthetic for the Gotham City. It's this just creepy place that feels so distinct from any other location in cinema. I think Keaton is a phenomenal Bruce Wayne and Batman. He's very different. He's more like awkward and mumbly as Bruce Wayne. But when he's Batman, he is actually intimidating, which is weird because Michael Keaton is not an intimidating man at all. Like, physically, that is. He's like 5'9", but he works in this movie as Batman. He's great. And of course, Jack Nicholson, fantastic. He's a great Joker. I mean, yeah, he's probably too old to play the Joker, but who cares, man? He's just great from the performance perspective. Got Alfred in there. He's very good. Knox, just a unnecessary side character, but a good one. And of course, you got Bob the Goon. Who doesn't love Bob the Goon? And there are just so many, like, great quotes from this movie. Like, "You are my number one guy." Or, like, any quote from Joker in this movie is just very funny. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier. But yes, it's a very good movie. And I'll always be disappointed that we never got to see Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. I mean, he was in the Lego Batman movie, which was very cool. I love that they cast him in that, but I do wish we'd gotten to see him in like full Two-Face mode. Again, Burton should have directed Batman Forever. What are you doing, WB? Come on! Anyway, my issues with the movie, I do have a few. The focus is off. Like, again, like, Batman is such an interesting character that I feel like Tim Burton would really gravitate towards, but Batman doesn't have much of an arc in this movie. All he really has is, like, he finds out that Joker killed his parents. Okay, but he wasn't even trying to find that out. That wasn't, like, a goal. That was just an accidental thing, a piece of information that he stumbled upon. So, I don't know, it's a bit weird. Like, it tells the Joker's origin story, but it doesn't really do anything for Batman in that regard. I mean, it does Joker's origin story well, it's just weird. And way too much of the story revolves around Vicky Vale. Like, I don't really like it when Batman has a love interest that isn't Catwoman or Talia al Ghul or even Andrea Beaumont that I'll talk about in a bit. But, okay, Vicky Vale is probably the best of the cinematic Batman love interests. What is that? Like, independent love interests. She has chemistry with Michael Keaton, but for one, it's not like a very interesting romance. Like, they kind of have chemistry, but they're not like, it's not like love at first sight. They don't really have that many scenes together. And then the entire third act is just based on people being obsessed with Vicky Vale. Why do you... I don't get why they need to do these Batman love interests. They're never that interesting. I don't get it, and I don't know. Vicky Vale is just not a very good character to me. Kim Basinger is fine. I don't really have a problem with her. It's just not a very well-written part, but I don't know. So it's a flawed movie, but it's one that is a classic, and it's one I really enjoy. Number 6 is Batman the movie. Okay, yes, it's weird that it may be weird in some people's eyes that I put Batman the movie above Batman 1989, but I don't care, man. This is just such a fun movie. I remember one time I was trying to find some episodes of Batman the Animated Series to watch when I was like 5 maybe, and I stumbled upon this show. And I don't know how my love for Batman got started, but that was like the first Batman media that I was exposed to, which is weird to think about, but it's very cool. Yes, this movie is absurd. It's corny. It's goofy, but it's so much fun. Every single actor just leans into the absurdity. Adam West is a great Batman. Like, even though it's such a goofy film, and even though there's so many goofy lines in here, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. The shark repellent. I actually wrote shark repellent film watcher spray on here, but whatever. Yeah. Everybody is great in this movie. The whole story about the World Council or whatever being literally dehydrated and turned into this colored powder is so dumb, but it's so much fun. It's delightfully ludicrous, and the movie has so much fun with it. Like, it doesn't take itself too seriously at all, but it's just fun. The movie's very funny. There's several like little sequences in there with the shark repellent and the bomb thing. Yeah. And it's just fun to see every like main villain from the series, Joker, Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, all together, because they were like the 4 main villains. They appeared the most out of anybody. The only other one that would probably be Mr. Freeze, or the Goons, the Pengoons, but God, I love this movie. It's just fun. It's not like, it's not perfect. It's not a great reflection of what Batman is now, especially since we just got the new movie, which is like the polar opposite of this in every conceivable way. But it's just a fun movie that I really enjoy. Number 5 is Batman Mask of the Phantasm. When I first watched this movie, I hadn't seen the animated series yet, which was a dumb decision on my part, but I watched the animated series, and then I watched this movie when I was done with it, and it's great. It's a really, really good Batman story, and even an even better Bruce Wayne story. It tells the Batman origin story, yes, but it shows like his struggle between his vow to uphold justice, or whatever it is and his desire to just be happy. Like, there's so many great scenes, or there's one specific scene where Conroy just goes all out with the acting, where he's like, I don't remember the specific line, but it's like, how can I risk my life every night when I know there's someone waiting for me to come home? It's such a good line, and it's such a good story. There's an actual good Batman love interest in Andrea Beaumont. They actually have chemistry. She's interesting. She's fun, which I did not think would happen. It's a really dark story. There's some killer voice acting. The Phantasm is a very cool new villain. The twist that it's Andrea is not all that surprising. I don't know if that's what the movie was going for, but it even when I watched the movie for the first time, it was like, oh, she's the Phantasm. But I don't know. It's not a huge. It's just the one problem with the movie. It's also too short, but whatever. And of course, there's a great old villain in the Joker. Duh. And oh my god, I talked about Mark Hamill in the video that I put out last week. He was the easily best villain in the animated series, but he is fantastic. Like, there's no one better as the Joker. He's phenomenal, and I've talked about this at length before. Not really, but you know what I mean. But yes, it's a very, very effective story, and it's really, really good. Number 4, okay, I'm making a bit of heat for this. The Dark Knight. Yeah, it is a great movie. I think it's a great movie. It is not my favorite Batman movie. So, good stuff first. Heath Ledger absolutely kills it. He's phenomenal as the Joker. He gets lost in the performance, literally, at some points. He is just... I haven't seen anything else that Heath Ledger's been in, so this is like the main thing that I'm going to think of when I watch any of his other movies, which is weird, but I don't know. He's so excellent in this role. He won an Oscar, and man, it's just such a great performance from him. I mean, everyone's great, but he's just the standout, definitely. The movie has some truly epic moments, like the thing with the boats at the end, the Joker interrogation sequence where Bale goes all out and gives probably his best, like, Batman delivery. The ending, like the entire ending sequence with Gordon's speech, Batman driving off, and a dark night, and then bum 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 bum. Yeah, what am I doing? Anyway, the lines, the monologues, yeah, it gets, like, you could argue that some of Nolan's stuff is like, everything is the most important thing in the world, but when the lines are written this well, I don't care. There's some really cool stuff in this movie. I think the organized crime stuff is probably the weak aspect of the good parts. It's not bad, but it's just not as good as some of the other stuff. I think Sal Maroni is not very good here, but whatever. This movie has the best action of the entire trilogy, by far. Like, Rises is pretty close, but we'll talk about Batman Begins. And then Aaron Eckhart is a fantastic Harvey Dent. He just embodies the character so well, and it's tragic to see his descent into just madness. But speaking of that, I don't think the movie spends nearly as much time with Dent as Two-Face as it should. I feel like there's just not enough scenes with him as a full-on villain to warrant him going to murder Gordon's child. And, like, I know that he wants to get back at Gordon for what happened to Rachel, but I don't know. It seems like just a bit of a stretch to me, and that's one of my biggest problems with the movie. My actual biggest problem with the movie is Rachel Dawes. Katie Holmes played her in Batman Begins. I don't get why they recast her. She wasn't very good, but at least she sounded like she was actually doing something. Maggie Gyllenhaal is so bad. I don't get it. Like, she's been really good in other things, but she's so bad here. Like, every single delivery, every interaction she has is so on point. Everybody else is, like, fully on point, and then you get to her, and she's so unconvincing, and it might be just me, But the two times that I've only seen it two times, but each time I've watched this movie, I've noticed it more and more. Even the first time when I watched it, several years ago, it was like, wait a minute, she seems weird. Why is she acting this way? I don't get it. And then I don't like that. Again, the whole Batman love interest. I don't need to go into this again. This video is too long already. 30 minutes. Good lord. Anyway, so I don't think it's a perfect movie, but it is a very, very cool one nonetheless. Number 3 is Batman Begins. So the main thing I love about this movie is seeing like an inexperienced Batman trying to figure out how to be more intimidating and getting all his gadgets and stuff. Like the first hour of this movie, or maybe hour and a half, when he tells his origin story and how he like becomes Batman and gets to that level, I think all that stuff is really, really cool, and I love seeing that kind of thing. It's very cool. Of course, Christian Bale knocks it out of the park as both Bruce Wayne and Batman. Like, as Bruce Wayne, he gives this just over-the-top, goofy performance, and I love it when Bruce Wayne does this type of thing, when he's so arrogant and dumb, he's buying hotels. Oh, man. And Christian Bale, it's really funny to me, and yeah, he's great. This is probably my favorite performance from him as Batman. I think the Batman voice is a little iffy in the trilogy overall, but I think he's able to make it sound intimidating, even if it does sound kind of goofy. I'm going to retract everything that I said about the Batman voice from my Batman recasting videos, but whatever. The supporting cast is phenomenal, mostly. Michael Caine is a great Alfred, best Alfred ever. Gary Oldman is Sergeant Gordon at the beginning of this movie, I believe. Best Gordon. And Morgan Freeman is Lucius Fox, best Lucius Fox. There hasn't really been any other Lucius Foxes, but he's the best. I think Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul are very good. I don't think they're great villains, but they're very good villains. I mean, for one, like, I don't get why Liam Neeson kept the name Ra's al Ghul, because, you know, Ra's al Ghul is an Arabic name. Liam Neeson is white, and whatever. And then, like, with Scarecrow, I think he could have been a little bit scarier, even though Cillian Murphy does a lot of that just in his performance alone. Like, he is a great Scarecrow, but it's not totally comic accurate, but I haven't read that many comics with the Scarecrow. How the heck would I know? Anyway, I think Katie Holmes is just kind of meh. She's not awful, but hey, at least she didn't lack all chemistry with all of her co-stars at all times. Anyway. And then, like, the one big issue I have with this movie, the action is really badly shot. Oh, jeez. It's weird. It looks weird. It's clumsily choreographed. It's shot. It's just, like, all over the place. It cuts every, like, not millisecond. It cuts every some short unit of time, and it's like you can slow down, man alive, and that's like what I was saying to the movie when I was watching it. I think I actually said the word slow down at multiple intervals, which is weird, but so yeah, that's the one issue I have with the movie. Otherwise, really, really great. Number 2 is The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, whatever. The Dark Knight Rises is considered to be the worst of the trilogy in a wide variety. I don't care. I think it's the best of the trilogy. That's it. I mean, there's a problem, certainly. The timeline of the film is kind of messy, and it's kind of unclear at points. Like, Bruce Wayne stops being Bruce Wayne just lives in his house as a recluse for 8 years. 8 years since this and the ending of The Dark Knight? Really? And, like, the whole thing where he's in the pit for several months, I think. Like, it's 6 months or something. They never spent any time on that. I don't get it. And then the Talia twist is kind of lame. I really like Marion Cotillard. I think I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I think she's a very good actress. She was phenomenal in Inception. And I think she does a good job here. But the character has no time whatsoever to actually make an impact, and she makes Bane worse. Like, she just makes him a pawn in her whole scheme. It kind of eliminates him as the major threat that he's been in this movie, and then she just kind of dies. She just dies. I'm just gonna remain like this for the rest. No, I'm not. But yeah, she just killed off in like 10 minutes. She barely makes much of an impact. I don't know. It's just kind of a lame use of Talia al Ghul, but I don't care, man. I love this movie. Of course, we got the new villain here, the actual good villain here in Bane. Tom Hardy is amazing. He's phenomenal. He just dives into this character, and like they found a way to make this Bane, who in the comics is this enormously bulky man who looks kind of unrealistic, like for a human being to actually be that enormous. And I know he has like the steroid, the drug, the venom, and they didn't do that here, which I think was a pretty good decision for the more realistic take. And honestly, I love his Bane voice. It's just so much fun. This bomb is armed. This bomb is mobile. And the identity of the trigger man is a mystery. Oh my god. I told you I would be doing impressions and they would not be good. I don't know if that was good, but I don't think it was very good. And who is capable of disarming such a device? Neck snapping, Mr. Wayne. What would break first? Your spirit or your body? I don't know. Oh my god, I love Bane in this movie. He's awesome. And then Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, from my perspective, she's pretty underrated. Like, I don't hear a lot of people talking about her. She's really good. Like, her relationship with Batman, like, she has a bit of a redemptive arc in the movie because she betrays him and locks him in the place with Bane. Like, why did I not see that coming? Bruce, you idiot! Anyway. I love the addition of Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Blake. He's just a cool character, and I like him. And then there are just so many epic moments in this movie. The breaking of Batman's back, how Bane does that. I think it's filmed very well. I think the effect is a little bit goofy, how Bane kind of just drops him and he goes down. But that's how it would work in real life, I think. I've never actually witnessed somebody's back get broken. Whatever. But yes, it's a very cool sequence. Bruce escaping the pit is really cool. And seeing him like train to get there. Oh man, it's just a very, very cool sequence. The Battle of Gotham with the cops and the Bane thugs is so awesome. The choreography when Batman's fighting Bane is a bit weird, but it's better than the action when Batman Begins. Let's leave it with that. The stadium scene that I just imitated a bit there, yeah, for your enjoyment. That's a very, very cool sequence. The destruction in there is devastating, but yeah, it's a very, very cool scene. Take control of your city. I am Bane. Of course. I'm getting really off track here. Anyway, the action in the movie is very cool. It's not great, but it's very cool. And like the final 10 minutes of this movie, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Could not be better. Best ending of any Batman movie. Even my number one doesn't have as good of an ending as this movie. It's just so cool. I love it so much. But you know, I love another movie on this list even more. And it is the newest Batman film, The Batman. That is my number one. I've only seen this movie once. It was just like a few hours ago. But anyway, it's such a great movie. It is like the definitive Batman movie. Now, Rises is great, but it's got some problems. This movie has like minimal problems. The one that I and like the ones when I wouldn't. What am I saying? Ones that I would not be able to like go into without getting into spoilers, but this part of spoiler free. So if you haven't seen the Batman, no need to beware. I think this Gotham is just grim and disgusting and creepy looking and so distinct and awesome. It just looks great. The cinematography is gorgeous, absolutely phenomenal. I love that this is like an actual detective story with actual clues. It's very reminiscent of Seven, and I've heard comparisons to Zodiac. I haven't seen that movie. I did see Seven, and like there are very clear comparisons, like Batman and Gordon investigating all this stuff, and it's awesome. I love Batman and Gordon in this movie, and Jeffrey Wright is great. Speaking of performances, Robert Pattinson. Whoa, like when this casting was announced like a few years ago, it was like Robert Pattinson. What was that? Anyway, yeah, Robert Pattinson. I have not seen the Twilight films, and I do not intend to. I read the first half of the first book, and it was really bad, but I did not enjoy it. I saw him as Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter, but he's fantastic in this film. He is this truly brutal Batman who is just absolutely vicious and terrifying, and like people think he's just gonna come out of the shadows, and oftentimes he does. He is a frightening, violent creature of the night. He does not hold anything back. Like, he doesn't kill people, but he is violent, and as Bruce Wayne, he's just sick looking. He's this very pale, strange looking dude who never seems to go out in the sun, and like, where is the sun in this? The sun never actually shines in this movie. Sun never shines on Gotham. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Catwoman, perfect. Zoe Kravitz is phenomenal. Her relationship with Batman was just very cool. Of course, Jeffrey Wright as Gordon is in there. He is excellent as like a bit more of a violent Gordon. He yells more than normal Gordons do. But like, I think Gary Oldman's a bit better, but he got 2 more movies than Jeffrey Wright has had. But he could improve. At least he could move up the list. Riddler. Whoa, way different from Jim Carrey. He is terrifying and unsettling. We don't get a lot of screen time with his actual face. I think the costume looks very cool. I have a Funko Pop of it there. But I think what Paul Dano was able to... It's not staying... Okay. I think what Paul Dano brought to the performance was just magnificent. I think he did a fantastic job. And he was just terrifying. Even with just his own face, he did such a good job. Colin Farrell, man. I did not think he was going to be... Like, I thought it was a weird casting choice for him to be the Penguin, but he stole the show. This is him. Yes, he was absolute... Why are you guys not staying? He stole the show. He was fun. He was really funny. He was just amusing, but he was also he was just an antagonist in general, but he was awesome. Carmine Falcone, didn't see a lot of him in the trailers, but he was very cool. He was a very neat, like, little sub-antagonist that the movie had in there. There are a lot of villains in this movie, technically. I mean, Catwoman, kind of, whatever. Anyway, you got Andy Serkis in there, also as Alfred. I thought he was going to be cast as the Penguin because he'd be great. But you know what? He's a great Alfred. He's phenomenal. I loved his relationship with Bruce. There wasn't a whole lot there, but what was there, I appreciated. The action in the movie is intense and brutal. The story is gripping, and there's so many like cool little twists that happen in the movie, and the mysteries that are revealed. Oh, I love it. And it really pushes the boundaries of PG-13. Like, I feel like... I don't think they're ever going to make an R-rated Batman movie. I feel like that'd just be a bit too much for... Like, you couldn't market certain toys to... If you made an R-rated Batman movie. I don't... Like, Lego wouldn't do that. Mattel, I don't believe so. So, I don't think that's ever going to happen. This might be the closest we will ever get. It is a truly brutal experience, and I absolutely adored it. It is definitely the Batman movie, and just the movie I thought it was going to be. I thought it was amazing. So that is my list, my Batman ranking video. Thank you guys for watching. Comment your own list down below in the comment place where comments go. That rhymed. What am I doing? Oh, jeez. So yes, thank you for watching. Keep calm and watch Batman movies.